Jarvan shield start. That could be it.
Jarvan shield start. Okay. So there we go. Ex-GamingGear heading again towards the bottom half of the map just to see what kind of knowledge they can gain, but there's nothing too much there for them. Not very deep wars this time, especially compared to the last couple of games where we saw people going right into the enemy jungle, getting all sorts of vision. These guys are just focusing more on the entrances and more on the rivers as they do. No, that'd be the pause. Janna having a slight disconnect error, so hopefully we'll get her back pretty rapidly. But it does give us even more time now to analyze the level 1 setup here. And as you mentioned, that NeeGodbro, how is he building his Nidalee? You wanted to see him go AP, yet he has quite literally none.
He doesn't have AP, and the question is going to be, does he build into that build where he focuses on becoming part of the team, roaming with him going for poke? Or does he go for the tanky build, not necessarily stick with the team, but try to force 4v4s constantly, so that way they don't have Renekton for the follow-up to the Jarvan Orianna combo? They have a lot of potential with that Nidalee pick. It's a very flexible pick, and he could actually adapt his build mid-game if he wanted to. It'll be cool to see what he does. Like it wouldn't be weird to see him go for like a Triforce Nidalee build, and then last pick go for a death cap just for the extra poke on the spears. That is how flexible of a champion Nidalee is.
It would be interesting as well. What do you make of Sorcerer's Boots on Corky? Because that's a hot topic for a lot of people. I personally like it, and with the hybrid damage he puts out, and with the mixture, it gives him a nice damage boost. But not everyone feels the same.
Well, I can kind of understand it. Actually, this might have been changed, but for a while Corky had really low base attack speed. I think it's actually decent now, so there goes that argument. It makes sense for how people play him. They don't play him as a super hard late game carry. They go for the Triforce build and they go for the early poke domination, early spell domination. So it makes sense for what teams want to accomplish. If you want to go for like super late game Corky, the Berserker Greaves will be better at that point. But that takes a while to get to, and usually by the time Corky gets that Triforce and you want the damage soon, the Sorcerer issues do a whole lot more faster.
So we do have our last player back into the game. We do have the game moving again. There we go. The pauses are finished. So let's watch things unfold now. From the 1 minute 40 mark, we do see Lee Sin starting at this red buff with his Caitlyn and Zyra in support. However, GamingGear, ex-GamingGear EU, have pulled the switcheroo and are sending Renekton bottom. Interesting against a Lee Sin, considering how much dragon control that gives up against someone that can do it very early on.
This is also scary because they could lose that bot turret in response. Nidalee shouldn't be able to hold top very well either, though. This could just be a pressure play, especially because they saw Nidalee start with the traps. When they placed on the wards, they spotted out traps. Ooh. And this means that Nidalee's got nothing defensively right now. Apparently Hipster has nothing defensively either.
Hipster has another issue because he was the one that reconnected earlier on. But I want to look exactly at Jarvan and Renekton right now. They are doing exactly what we saw many of the Asian, the Korean teams doing at Worlds that GamingGear attended when they lane swapped their solo to the bottom lane. Renekton hugged that blue buff with Jarvan, took a lot of the experience from it, and is now helping him do the wolf camp as well. So he's going to go down to that bottom lane, having quite a bit of jungle experience, and should be much better off than Godbro is.
It's a huge benefit to NBS to go for that start. It's really cool to see that happen, even though it does set back Jarvan. And Jarvan, you want him to hit level 2, level 3 fast, because he has such powerful ganks at that point. If he's probably going to have to roam bot lane anyways to help defend Renekton. At that point, it goes from a risky dive, a risky defensive position where they can be dove on because they have a level 1 Renekton trying to survive versus a 3v1 or 2v1 to a safer option because they both have experience, they both have multiple skills. Like, that is what makes some of the tower dives so difficult to survive. You have one guy with one spell, and that is not what you need against a 3v1, especially because Lee Sin could run bottom for that.
So we'll see exactly how that unfolds and the benefits he gains from it, or perhaps doesn't, or what Intellectual Playground do to counteract such a play. Do of course have Nidalee in the top lane, who is notoriously difficult to manage because of the traps everywhere and because of the move speed buff she gets from bushes and just from going into cat form at 6. So it'd be quite something for Jarvan to pull something off up there.
It's going to be Possible though, if he does sneak his way up top lane. There is no trap yet. There we go. There's the Tribush trap. That's what Nidalee needs to do to be safe. Still though, it's going to be a rough lane to hold. Nidalee does have the traps for wave clear, but there's nothing solid or nothing reliable. Actually, Jarvan just going to leave Renekton at the turret. This is another option because Renekton has a near level 2 experience. He'll hit level 2 quickly and be able to help keep the turret alive or at least get some CS.
Yep, he's hit level 2 already. So suddenly a lot stronger than perhaps Zyra and Caitlyn were expecting, but it allows him to clear this wave up pretty rapidly. Does mean that Jarvan has to do that Wraith Camp before he hits level 3 himself, so it's a little bit slower here to there. But considering he's going onto a top lane that will be pushed into tower, it's not really going to be too much anyway. So
and of course,
Hipsterjesiz. Sorry, yeah.
Said of course to counteract this, Nidalee just did the same thing with Lee Sin. NeeGodbro and Santorin both went to the Wolf Camp to get experience because they realized Nidalee's not getting anything. And by contrast, now they do have Lee Sin up there because Nidalee cannot hold the turret on her own. But Renekton, his turret is taking some damage, but he is keeping it alive for the most part.
So Mazzerin putting a lot of pressure onto this mid lane, onto Janna, but Janna's right up there with CS. She's having a plenty easy enough time. 1, taking the CS before it hits the turret with tornadoes. 2, taking the CS once it's at the turret with her shield and her AD bonus. So, right, she's not careful, she'll be fine. As we do see a flash EQ combo comes out in the bottom lane. Follow-up flash comes out from Zyra, trying to keep the distance, but MBS is chasing. He's going to have to stun back up in a second. They're going to pick a target. There goes out onto Renekton, but it's not enough to finish him off. First blood goes to Jarvan. Teleport comes down onto a plant from Hipsterjesiz. Zyra passive hits onto Jarvan at max range. Flash tornado comes out from Janna. The slow is there. Put over pacemaker won't land because of the EQ drag, and Jarvan gets out safely with Renekton in tow. First blood for no exchange. Ex-GamingGear EU with a beautifully executed level 3 play. And I am here to have lost studio.
Sorry about that. Back in here, but that was a huge play because ex-GamingGear not only got the kill, they also burned a lot of summoners. They got the teleport and flash used by Hipster. This means that he's now an easier gank, and also that map control, that random teleport to the bot lane to apply a shield and then, apply the massive amount of Janna CC you expect from her. It's not an option anymore. They control a lot more of the map. Her role in the mid lane's a lot weaker because she's no longer as useful across the map, and that's a huge, huge kill overall. That is the power of Renekton, though. That is the power of Jarvan. They have a lot of CC, they have a lot of mobility, and they have a lot of slows, which someone like Zyra, even with the defensive support room page, is just going to have so much trouble surviving.
NBS back in that bottom lane now has that assist to his name. Still only 10 CS, but he's got a Doran Blade and Doran Shield, so got a nice little bit of health regen on top, chugging all those potions through though, because those plants do quite a bit of damage to him. Intellectual Playground still trying to punish this bottom tower, trying to get it down pretty rapidly, but they can't do it in this wave, and now Jarvan's here to support once more. Santorin has been sitting in that top lane for quite some time now with Godbro. He's up to level 5, just like we saw Jarvan in the very first game. Looking to try and make some kind of play soon. He's landed a couple of Qs, landed a couple of Sonic waves onto Deadlybrother, but has not been in a position to go in for it. However, once both Lee Sin and Nidalee hit 6, a well-placed Q and follow-up kick could spell trouble for Corky.
The problem is that means Santorin's been up here for such a long time, and all they're getting is the experience share. They can't do anything before level 6. So Lee Sin will have the CC, but Nidalee, her spell kit, like, what can she actually do in a fight? Toss a spear, try to land a trap, nothing reliable, and nothing that high damage, because she does have that 0 AP start. Mid lane, though. Mid lane's been a bit of a farm off. Mazzerin has just been kind of hanging out there. And I like this build.
Mazzerin's doing a very good job in the farm. 20 CS up onto an AEP Janna, who we just mentioned has a very easy time picking up CS in lane just with one quick tornado. So, a good job to Mazzerin on his Orianna. He also, of course, didn't follow that roam quite so much, so he had extra time to pick up CS while Hipsterjesiz was teleporting. So, good job to him for making the most of that and have to keep that pressure home. And of course, because he knows Lee Sin's in the top lane, because he's seen him there this entire time, he's been able to abuse those auto attacks. He's been able to push Janna under turret. As we do see Jarvan going in again in the bottom lane. Knockup goes on to Gamble. The snare comes out, but it's not quite enough. They are a bit on a split focus here. MBS looking like he wants to get Zyra. Can't get in range for the stun. He's going to take a fair bit of return damage on the chase. But again, taking Gamble down fairly low. And the next EQ knockup, it could spell trouble. It does. The EQ will land. Gamble uses his last bit of mana to try and get away from Jarvan. He does just about get under turret. But he's going to have to base, otherwise he could be in trouble if this level 6 dive is coming out of Renekton and Jarvan.
Renekton does have flash, Jarvan does have level 6 fairly soon himself, going to be just a few more creeps that can creep, might push him over the edge. Yeah, 2 level 6s, that does force Caitlyn back. Actually, Roldo should be backing off from that turret right now because he can very easily get taken down. This is also a problem because Janna doesn't have teleport up, cannot back them up. Just the map control and the pressure being applied in that 2v2 is massive. Now, they actually push to the enemy turret. They actually force Caitlyn back. That is not common in 2v2s. And if you look at the response of top lane, Lee Sin's been up there for such a long time, and the turret's still about to fall.
Deadlybrother still yet to base, 73 CS, and is currently sitting on 2,000 gold in his pretty back pocket. Then, as soon as they finish with that tower, be a nice bonus again. Another Sonic Wave lands, so he has to back up and be a bit careful. Can't finish the tower off just yet. And there we go, goes forward as the turret does fall. Santorin comes forward. They've got a lot of damage. Sona goes out. The Ignite's down as well. Blocks that last rocket with a creep. Very unlucky for GamingGear EU. It does allow the escape from Lee Sin and Nidalee. Lee Sin, however, had to blue his flash to do so.
Now, something to note is that Janna is not a very good character for taking her own blue buff. And because Lee Sin's been up top lane for such a long time, they have not picked it up yet. So the blue buff has already applied to Mazzerin. Mazzerin using that to once again apply more pressure, stay pushed in, and just make it so Janna's having as much trouble CSing as possible. And it's kind of weird how this mid lane matchup has just been so passive. You expect a little bit of pressure just because if there's easy harass from Janna, there's easy harass from Orianna, and it's just been kind of this weird dueling farm off mid lane. Mazzerin's reaching that point though. He's got the chalice, he's getting closer and closer to an Athene's. He's just going to push and be able to roam more effectively than Janna, despite her having that teleport. If she does decide to go to a different lane or even just farm up, she will be more effective late game. So that's kind of a scary part of the game for IPG. Intellectual Playground need to either do something with Janna and use her early game, or just not have her die mid lane.
Oh yeah, Mazzerin going in. Also, ult off, the Ignite's ticking. Not quite going to be enough, however. We now see Jarvan down by the Drake, trying to 2v1 the bottom lane of Intellectual Playground. But Santorin comes to join the party and spoils it. Finishes Jarvan off with a very big kick. Inspirro flashes, somehow managed to avoid the Q from Lee Sin, who will dash onto a ward to get behind Corky now. That's put a split in Intellectual Playground. Roldo very, very low. Teleport comes out from Hipsterjesiz. No ultimate from Mazzerin means he's going to have to keep this chase up, but doesn't have much damage. And now that tornado has landed, the slow is still there. We'll get out safely thanks to Hipsterjeziz's chase. But there's a Q comes in from Santorin. With the help of NeeGodbro coming from the top lane, they do manage to pick up that kill onto Orianna. 5 members of Intellectual Playground still standing there, and GamingGear EU a way to split to contest this Drake. And that is the first of the game, heading towards our blue team.
Quick drag and going down in less than 10 seconds there. And this is the strength of their team now. They have this kite-oriented team, but right now, before the initiation from Jarvan can actually be backed up by a powerful, level 2 high EP Orianna ultimate, they actually have really good team fight and really just much more powerful pickoff because of the Lee Sin pick. So eventually they'll reach a point where the team fights will not benefit them. Until then, this is the chance for the team to shine and to stay super aggressive, stay going for those team fights, and go for those skirmishes. It does help quite a bit that ex-GamingGear EU did not have the shockwave up, but even if Orianna had that ultimate available, she did not really have the mobility to get to the fight quickly enough, and she still would have died and not accomplished a whole lot. Very well played though by Intellectual Playground, going for that pickoff. Now Inspirro taking a bit of damage. I would expect to see Caitlyn stay bot lane and see a lot more roaming and just kind of grouping from the rest of the team, except for Nidalee, who just push top, then do something else.
We do currently now see Orianna down in that bottom lane, pushing that out while there's not too much going on or anything to worry about. We do see Sork shoes coming from Deadlybrother, so he's got those and his phage from his first back with all that gold he had. As Gamble makes his way up the river, clearing wards thanks to that pink on his way. I do unfortunately have to say that Intellectual Playground support has the wrong wards, because they are not Draven heads, they are Lux things, and that is wrong. Should be Draven heads.
It's not even the Soraka Crescent.
Those are wrong too. It's
well, but for
Draven's the only option. Santorin, however, goes up to the top lane, does find himself a Renekton for his trouble. Trying to get past him to land that kick, does get a stun in his face instead. Are they going to take the dive? No, they're not. Too many creeps there. Nice escape from MBS. Good knowledge and forward thinking to suspect Lee Sin was on his way up.
They do have Orianna in the 2v1. She can stay relatively safe in this. Doesn't want to, ever stay in lane farming for too long. But this is also risky because Mazzerin is now slowing down his farm. At the same time, they're securing Corky in the mid lane. But Janna's reached that point. She is level 9, has max rank Tornado. She may not kill the entire creep wave, but I believe that if she waits a few seconds, melee minions will die to the full charge.
We do see Renekton and Jarvan in the top lane. NeeGodbro taking a lot of damage from that knockup. MBS has to flash into Alunir's ult to try and get there and help out. Alunir's taking a lot of damage from that Lee Sin. He's got the ignite ticking. Will he fall down on the tower? Not before MBS gets the kill onto Nidalee, but it is a 1-for-1 trade all the same. Renekton now chasing onto Lee Sin, but can't quite get the kill and does back away. So 1-for-1 trade, Jarvan for Nidalee. Good response from Santorin. He hung around, he knew something like that was going to happen and was there to respond in time.
Actually, looking at NeeGodbro's build, he's going for the tanky Nidalee build. Looks like going for an early Sunfire Cave, which is an interesting pickup. Normally, you expect the Triforce some early damage before you go for the tank up, but his build will probably be based around sitting up top lane and just being with Renekton, doing Renekton non-stop, because he doesn't want to group up because he's not going for the AP build.
We do see Intellectual Playground trying to make a play for this blue buff. The rocket comes out, it's not quite enough. Janna picks it up for Tornado's Inspirro, gets off. That Sona ultimate does land on to Sona, but he may lose his life for it. He does, but the Orianna goes off, pulls Caitlyn back in. Forces a flash away thanks to a good Tornado, healing Caitlyn back up. Not Tornado, sorry, Monsoon healing Caitlyn back up. Nicely played by Janna. So there is that kite comp, there is that peel that you were talking about. And we have from Janna pushing everyone, healing them up, allowing these very low health members of Intellectual Playground to just slide on out of there almost unharmed.
And realize that heal will just get better and better. That's going to be a huge problem.
That made no sense. This is how does someone on very low health get out unharmed? That's a complete oxymoron.
I mean, I can kind of understand it. Like, they're
no,
not
it makes no sense.
harmed to death. No, nothing at all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to defend it, but I really can't.
No.
However, that Monsoon's going to get better. Like, at that point, it's only 99 or 92 HP a second. It's a rank 1 Monsoon. The healing, especially with Janna's AP going up quite a bit, very, very soon, once she starts finishing that Chalice into an Athene's. Eventually, you can expect a point where, if Janna's Monsoon is not interrupted, she will have an AoE heal for 1000 HP for her entire team. And that's something that is kind of forgot about when it comes to AP Janna, just because people forget the actual channel portion of her spell of Monsoon so much. But they're going to need someone to stay and just hold a CC for Janna, especially because they can't rely on their initial CC, because she'll probably be in the back line waiting to counter people and knock them out. That's going to be a huge point, and I kind of forgot about it just because it's not commonly thought of, but they have this huge amount of sustain that will counter the Shockwave, that will counter the Dissonance combo, and a lot of the AoE that GamingGear do have available to them if they do not interrupt it right away. So, back to 2v2 then. Caitlyn and Zyra onto Corky. That snare does land. A nice little bit of damage comes out onto Deadlybrother, taking him down to about half HP and forces him to pop a couple of potions. But troops will come in there, wait, and he'll just let them wait for them to arrive. He's also got Lee Sin down there, whether they know that or not, it's unclear right now. I think they do. I think he's on a ward, so they are going to play it very, very cautiously. Drake's going to come up in 30 seconds again. So we're looking for something from Intellectual Playground down onto that area once more, which may suggest why Lee Sin is hovering on that bottom half of the map. Top lane, NeeGodbro is dealing with NBS. NBS, because he's still on a trap, he has reduced armor and mitigation, and it's easier for Nidalee just to punish him and pressure him because of that. Also, Nidalee does have a lot of mixed damage, so that armor is not necessarily doing all that much to stop, say, the crew reform abilities. I like that constant pressure up top lane. I like that Renekton can't leave the lane without losing the turret, and now Dragon being attempted. They're going to have Sona ultimate, they're going to have Orianna and Jarvan available. This is going to be a very, very powerful team fight for GamingGear if they can get good grouping and can get a good initiation.
Janna's still in the mid lane. She has teleport, but there's no reason to use it from that distance. She's now coming down. Jarvan goes into the pit. Santorin's forced to dash out over the wall. Zyra ult does force 3 people to split up, but the Sona ult's going to catch out Caitlyn and Zyra the same. Sona's going to chase onto Zyra. Will not quite. There we go. Flashes to the kill as the dragon goes to Jarvan. Again, nice play from Intellectual Playground. They wanted to make it happen, but with Janna staying in that mid lane, they didn't really have the numbers or the positioning they needed, and GamingGear were allowed to come in and bully them off of that Drake. So nicely done, GamingGear EU. The auto attack doesn't come off. NeeGodbro getting a little bit too greedy, tries to switch back to human form for that last attack. And that gave MBS the time to fire out that final auto attack with the help from the tower. Saved his life and got the kill.
Ooh, Santorin able to secure his own blue buff. It does deny it from Hipster though. And the problem with that fight, like you mentioned, is that Janna wasn't there, but also they've reached a point where, well, if they don't have Nidalee there, they don't really have a powerful front line. Lee Sin did go for a Sightstone build, so he's still relatively squishy despite the extra HP. And in the Dragon Pit, in that small contained area, they can't really defend themselves from Orianna ultimate, Jarvan initiation, Sona flash follow-up. Like, they just did not have a way to defend themselves if they actually did group up for that fight. So when it comes to objective control, it's not about intellectual playground playing around Dragon, playing around Baron directly. They have to be ready so that when there is grouping from GamingGear, they take a turret somewhere else across the map. They take mid turret, they take top turret. They almost took top turret. NeeGodbro could have taken that turret, but Jarvan's W, his stun, the Ruthless Predator, is almost instant in its animation compared to Nidalee's spells, which have a tiny bit more time involved to actually get that auto attack off. We're coming down to milliseconds at that point of difference. That cost NeeGodbro that kill up top lane.
We do see Jarvan again hiding in these top bushes just like he did before. Where the last time round Lee Sin came to spoil his party and they didn't get out with the effect they wanted. This time round, lane was already way too pushed and Godbro is in no position to be touched, and he has to walk across the water on his way down towards the bottom half of the map again. Needs to come down here though because the blue buff is up and Intellectual Playground are making a play for it. Gonna EQ across, misses the tornado, gets onto Janna, who's forced to flash out of that Cataclysm. She's got her flash down. That's some minor win, but Janna flash for Jarvan Tornado, it will be worth it any day of the week. Inspirro chasing onto Zyra, not quite ready to go any deeper into that jungle though.
The cooldown on Cataclysm is only about 100 seconds at this point in the game. NeeGodbro is backed up to his old shenanigans top lane. He can be Renekton in trades, it's just that he's got to be very wary of Jarvan. So now knowing that the Cataclysm is down, now knowing that they can't bait out a leap and then follow up onto him, he once again goes right up for that aggression, especially now that they also spotted out Jarvan. Mid turret is now the main point of focus for Intellectual Playground. And they can try and push this with the same deal as before. If they get caught out, if two members are hit by a shockwave, that could be the end of a fight right there. That could just lose them tons of gold and lose them map control. If one person is hit though, if they only get Lee Sin or even Caitlyn can get hit by the shockwave, they're actually fine to defend against that and just kite around that.
You just see quite a bit of damage coming out from Orianna onto Gamble, onto that Caitlyn with just one attack dissonance combo. So you're going to be very, very careful not to get caught out in this Orianna, who has a big burst of damage, unlike the ones we've seen in previous games. Context, of course, didn't quite have the turnaround he needed, and even though he was landing some good ultimates towards the end of the game, his damage wasn't exactly high as we have seen from many Oriannas, as it was. So it didn't matter. The game went on long enough, it scaled, and they won all the same. But we now see GamingGear EU, or ex-GamingGear EU, making a push of this tier 1 turret in the mid lane that has been mentioned before against a Janna with AP tornadoes and that shield on the turret. You're not going to get too much damage down onto that.
However, there is a way to go around that. If you have Orianna apply the shield to someone who can tank the turret for a sec, this lets other people auto attack, because MBS actually going to duel NeeGodbro up top lane. He was trying to recall, but NeeGodbro might have actually interrupted something he didn't want to.
And Santorin, he comes up, the Q's going to land, he's going to dash in, flash away from MBS, but he flashed into the spear. And that means Santorin can finish him off with a kick.
3v3 back in the mid lane. That Janna Tornado or Janna Shield is doing work for the turret, keeping it alive. Gamble taking a lot of damage, now in a bit of danger. The shockwave was not quite in range though, so they weren't able to pick him off. That actually could have very easily been a kill though, had there been, I guess, Corky nearby or Janna ready with the flash crescendo. This is a weird push, because eventually Janna might run out of mana, but their hope is that they'll get one minion of melee minion dive, or a dive like this.
There's the dive, the Orianna goes to Gamble, gets melted. With the help from Corky, they do finish off 2 very quick kills. There's the third, Alunir with that long-range Dragon Strike finishes it off under the tower. Zyra will fall. So while the gold lead is still in Intellectual Playground's favor, losing this mid-tier 1 turret is going to help GG out a lot. But 3 turrets to 1 still in favor of Intellectual Playground, still means they have that minor gold lead. So we'll have to see what they do with it. But that mid-tier 1 turret gives so much map control for the team to have killed it. And right now, Intellectual Playground have not killed their one. So
and of course,
they're going to have to be very careful with the way they found these wards. And this GamingGear may not be finished. They might get a second.
very, very low on HP. They should be able to finish it off and actually have the least initiation.
Dude, Lee Sin goes in, he's taken very, very low, slowed, he's going to have to flash away to stay alive, and ultimately didn't save the tower after all that anyway. NeeGodbro's going to keep chasing them out, he's going to leap forward, trying to dodge around the ball. Can't wait for the slow, but can't go much further now that the creeps have arrived. And of course, he hasn't got spear damage because he's not AP. But they may just be able to return this tier 1 tower in the mid lane.
This is a common tactic. If you lose ground, but you're able to punish the enemy for staying too long, to take more objectives in response, NBS does go forward. Actually, Deadlybrother is rooted up.
Yes, but he Valkyries over Mazzerin and survives the Caitlyn ultimate, but that means IPG can keep their push on. They know how low he is, they know how low the rest of his team were, and they have to go all the way back to the Fountain of the Hills. So Gamble is going to face tank the turret a bit thanks to that very powerful AP Janna shield, and they will land a couple of powerful auto attacks onto it, taking it down to about half of its health before the rest of GamingGear EU return to that mid lane. They do back away before Corky even makes his appearance, as they are all low on health and mana, and they cannot do anything more to that tower.
Dragon is back up, so going to be another easy 1,000 gold for GamingGear. There are some members nearby. Santorin could go for the steal. That's a scary steal, that's a risky steal. And it actually could be stopped by GamingGear just pulling out the dragon a bit. But still, if he gets it, he will be worth more. They're looking for it. They got the Draven down. Draven, rest in peace. Lord does not survive long.
RIP in pieces, Draven. Tornado comes across, Q comes across from Lee Sin. They realise now that it's still on high health. Lee Sin goes across with his Q, with his smite, he gets the damage. Can he get out again? Oh, he was in mid-air, but he's still got the Drake. Lee Sin for Drake, definitely worth it. Very nicely played by Intellectual Playground's jungler, Santorin.
Actually, that may not have been worth it. He had a killing streak. He was worth 500 gold for the person that killed him, plus the assist gold. It was actually not a good trade. That normally, that's almost always a good trade. Jungler for the dragon, but it was about equal then, and this gives them more time to apply pressure, but in this case just passively farm for GamingGear. It's an equal trade, it's an equal exchange. Who got the kill though? NBS. Kind of scary.
Renekton's just got a lot stronger. So it's a 750 gold Lee Sin for a 950 gold dragon. So almost there, but not quite.
Still, you don't want to...
It's a nice play, it was a fancy execution, but not the kind of gold you want to be giving away for free.
It was really cool about that was the Janna shield applied to Lee Sin just to help steal, and then of course try and survive afterwards. He almost got out. That was just short. If Dragon
was in midair. MBS comes over the wall, gets the sun onto Santorin, immediately has to back away. Janna Tornado does fly out, knock a couple of people up. Alunir taking some damage from Zyra. Ultimately the disengage is there. Everyone backs on out. Dancing around Baron Pen. GamingGear have to back up towards their mid-tier 2 turret, otherwise they're going to get completely zoned away. And that's exactly what happened. So IPG, you're going to get some free damage down. This tier 2 turret in the mid lane is Jarvan. He's going to EQ across. They want to get onto Gamble. The ult comes out. MBS is there too. Oh, Janna pushes him back, so Gamble is out and safe. The Roldo's very low. Flash roll from Corky will pick up that kill, but he's got a Nidalee there to fight him now. Gamble's still doing a lot of damage. Great zone roll, but hits onto both Janna and onto Caitlyn. MBS keeps the chase coming. Still only the one kill in favor of GamingGear for now. There's Gamble finished off once Mazzerin got close enough. Mazzerin took a lot of damage for his troubles. Got to be careful he doesn't get picked up on the escape. Nidalee going to rotate around towards bottom and try and pick up that tier 2 turret there, while GamingGear EU are pushing this mid tower looking for an inhibitor.
To be able to pick this up, there's only 2 members there to defend as Nidalee is split pushing. Mazzerin has retreated, but then again, this is an AP Janna. She is mostly killing those creep waves once again, and with the shield on the turret, it would have been a very difficult push. So, the one rare occasion where the Janna is not a support, but an AP, she's actually able to hold that mid turret 1 versus 3.
Oh, Alunir may have stayed his wave. Welcome. He's been found out by Janna and Lee Sin. He managed to get his EQ combo off despite the knock-up though. As a result, he's out of life. Deadlybrother taking down about half health by Nidalee. Actually, Lee Sin's not finished chasing this. He's going to keep coming. Forces the flash out from Alunir. Dashes onto a ward. He's still chasing. Has he got his kick? Not anytime soon. And with NBS and Inspirro showing up, he is forced back on away just as his ultimate comes off cooldown. But having forced Jarvan back that low, knowing he's got no health, IPG are looking for a very rushed Baron attempt.
They can kill this relatively quickly. They have a lot of damage because of Caitlyn and Nidalee and just all their shields. They do have MBS DR trying to defend. Mazzerin does have the ultimate available. This fight will be huge.
MBS stops the Baron attempt and tries to back away towards the mid lane, dodges the snare. Will take a slow, but that's the extent of it. And now the rest of GamingGear EU have collapsed down and are in a position to fight for the Baron. So IPG have to back away. and live to fight another day.
Maybe it was a small fight. Okay, not a huge fight. They could have gone all in for that. They could have tried to pick off NBS, but they still leave themselves open to a Mazzerin ultimate. And actually now, GamingGear are going to sweep the area of wards. They can try and go for a Baron themselves, but because there's no hard initiate, they won't die to a jungle steal or to grouping, but they'll die to poke most likely, and that's the risk there.
Santorin, he's gonna be exposed, dodges the last rocket thanks to a good kick and a quick flash. But jungler now low and away with no signs of escape. We do see Alunir keys over the wall, straight onto a trap. But Gamble's horribly exposed and NBS knows exactly where he is. There's Moose Bus coming up from Orianna. Slow goes down from Janna. They're not willing to chase Gamble any further into that jungle. And it's given Lee enough time to back heal and is on his way back out onto the map now. GamingGear trying to get these little openings, trying to get these little catches, and my client's crashed, so can you take over?
Alright, so the problem IPG is having right now is that they want to group up and not be grouped up at the same time, because if they go for an AoE team fight, they'll lose, they'll outright die. But they need to be grouped up because they need to apply the Nidalee attack speed buff to Caitlyn. They need to have the Janna shield on Caitlyn defensively for the attack bonus and the actual HP. So they need to be grouping up, kiting back in their fights, but because they're trying to stay so spread out, we're seeing pickoffs happen. And because of the Jarvan, because of the Orianna, it's very easy for someone to die in just a split second based off that initial Jarvan CC or just the command shockwave as it was used on Roldo earlier. So if they can stay spread out but in the same general area, then it's going to be a very, very kite-oriented fight that they have a chance of winning. As they've been playing it now, though, they've essentially been all spread out. One person is being hit by Jarvan. It was Santorin who had used a flash and ult to escape. Then Roldo getting hit by Orianna. Then all of a sudden, Gamble was also being pressured by Jarvan. Just people all across the map are being caught in 1v3s and 1v4s, and they cannot let that happen. They actually want a 4v4. NeeGodbro off on the side. But if they have to go for a 5v5, they have to be grouped up. They have to be protecting Caitlyn, because that is the carry right there. And actually, Gamble really needs a Last Whisper because of those Ninja Tabi on the enemy team. She needs to get more mitigation, or penetration to get through that mitigation.
So, let's watch where ex-GamingGear go now. 10 seconds till the Drake respawns. Yeah, just a moment's time. And we do see ex-GamingGear running around with Inspirro's oracles. That pink eye cleaning out the area, taking away what vision IPG do you have. Zyra though is going to go instantly replace these wards using plants for vision. Ult comes up from Jarvan to catch him into the area. Ult comes up from Zyra to knock everyone up. Will it be enough for the escape? No chance in hell. Valkyrie forward gives the kill to Corky. Everyone hung back and left that for him, but Sona was there just in case there was any chance of a walk away. Now, yes, the Drake is up. Yes, they caught Zyra down there as an attempt to get control for it, but with her dead, they can go for the bigger prize. They can go for this Baron, especially as they saw Nidalee in that bottom lane. They have already engaged it, as everyone from IPG has to try and close it.
They do have Lee Sin for that steal potential. This is not a guaranteed Baron just because of how Lee Sin works. Down to about 2,500 HP. This is going to be tricky. He has a lot of people to go through.
Over, Spear comes over, EQ comes over, Smite very early from Jarvan, but Lee Sin was nowhere near close enough to get in there, and he still activates his Q anyway. Gets nuked down. Ult from Janna actually doesn't do too much because of the way she was positioned and split. That tornado, however, will get them all out from that knockup, but there's enough move speed buffs here from Orianna, and NBS is going to flash forward. Going to keep the chase coming. One more rocket, last tick of Ignite, and NBS's passive on that ultimate will allow the Janna kill. 5 to 13. Do pick up 2 kills, one of them being Lee Sin that really didn't need to die in all honesty. He went in way after the Baron had already died. And now ex-GamingGear, you're going to try and push this mid lane. But nice counterplay coming out from Intellectual Playground. Nidalee and Caitlyn both split pushing top and bottom lane, forcing 2 people from ex-GamingGear to base and defend, else risk losing 2 inhibitor turrets.
They're going to have that successful inhibitor push though, and it looks like they'll be able to defend both lanes. So that split push, it does stop them from possibly going to end the game, but they still lose inhibitor and don't get that much in response. Unfortunately, who has the most death for Intellectual Playground? It's Zyra. Zyra is the one character without mobility, and because of that, because they can easily catch her out, that's just been the focus for GamingGear this game. It's focused on the slow, less mobile character compared to the rest of the team, and because she's objectively easier to kill, it's just been constant catch, and unfortunately for Roldo, he can't get those wards down. And it's not like his team can back him up in warding either, just because they don't have a good team fight. This is not the position you want to be in as a kite composition, because now of the members of GamingGear can just push forward. They can take bot lane, they can take top lane, even through the Janna shield, even through the Janna tornadoes. They almost don't need a creep wave. You need a creep wave nearby to reduce the armor and magic resist of a turret, which is what they do when they reach it. But afterwards, it's just going to be Mazzerin shielding Renekton or Alunir, and then Deadlybrother and Mazzerin getting auto attacks off in response on the turret. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Intellectual Playground to hold, but if they can get that one good kite fight, if they can get Caitlyn to that last whisper, they still do have a chance this game.
So, Corky has got his last whisper, his Bloodthirster, Trinity Force, and now an extra Negatron's Cloak on there too. That was a big shot for him on his way back. 405, 261 CS. GodBro still trying to keep this pressure up on this side lane, just constantly pushing, constantly aggroing and being annoying onto Renekton, onto NBS. But ultimately, I haven't really seen too much use from that Nidalee in the rest of the game. That tank Nid not doing too much. He's got his Trinity Force now, so he's got a bit of extra damage. But let's see what kind of use that they can put it towards. Baron is still on the ex-GamingGear players for another couple of minutes. So we do see a bit of a skirmish between GodBro and NBS in the bottom lane, and GodBro is on the run.
This isn't a 1v1 though, because there are 3 members coming from GamingGear, and there's also Lee Sin and Zyra trying to back up NeeGodbro. But NeeGodbro got the moves, he's got the juice, he's got the leap, and he will be safe.
Yes, NBS failed to leap through the wall, means he couldn't get there. As a result, though, it means GodBro is split from his team, so they are still going to have to put some pressure onto this tier 2 turret. Jarvan going to shield tank it, instantly shielded in return by Janna, though. Janna's got a big shield thanks to that ability power. But now, that about half health. Flash, oh, comes out from Inspirro. Gamble is destroyed. Absolutely melted in amongst that entire combo. Beautiful engagement from Inspirro. Nidalee's still stuck now behind the rest of the ex-GamingGear team. Has to recall to join up with the rest of her mates. But with those members of the Intellectual Playground team dead and hurting, GG are face tanking down this inhibitor turret. They will get the kill just before everyone else respawns and returns and responds. And they are looking for their second inhibitor of the game. Super Creeps are already pushing up the mid lane. So a couple of IPG players have got to go and deal with that. And JG pick up themselves a second inhibitor.
You could try to rotate top lane. They actually still have a lot of umph. They have the creep wave there, but even then, they could probably still backdoor both those top 2 turrets, or at least one, because Gamble, that's the one, will be respawning by then.
Yeah.
Like, I got it right the first time, like, wait, no, it's Gambit. Wait, no, that's the team. That's the team that's already in the LCS. Right now, though, you know, Intellectual Playground, they're going to try and defend. They got to land their pokes, they got to land their whatever they can. Tornadoes, spears, hold over peacemakers, but they got to keep this turret alive. They got to hold this game. The super creeps are coming. They are running out of time.
So, ex-GamingGear's Baron has worn off. They're going to back away, and they're going to EQ combo into an empty blue buff spawn. Good job, Alunir. And they will go and shop. They've got a lot of gold. They've got some big buys. They've got a lot of items on their way. And in about 2.5 to 2 minutes, Baron will be back up once more. And they have 2 inhibitors already killed. It should be a completely free to get Baron, providing they are not crazy stupid. And of course, they've got the perfect inhibitor to do it. With that bottom lane down, Super Creep pushing all the way up there. Someone is going to have to be as far away from that Baron as possible. And chances are it's going to be NeeGodbro and his already slightly useless Nidalee.
They should be sending Hipster down there. He does have teleport available. At this point, teleport's not going to do a whole lot of good besides be used to defend against Baron.
See how they play it. NeeGodbro pushing that bottom lane up past the river now, while everyone from ex-GamingGear is in the top side of the map, taking away the blue, which has now spawned, and cleaning out and placing their own wards in and around the Baron pit. Baron in minute 20, Dragon in a minute 40. Don't expect to see anyone really doing anything for that Dragon. That is nowhere near important enough for the point of game we are at here. So 36 minutes in, and ex-GamingGear, you still have their AD carry face tanking down the top inhibitor turret. Mid inhib has respawned. Inspirro going very, very low there, and it probably took all of Santiro's willpower not to activate that second Q. Nice snare from Zyra. Knocks up 4 members of GamingGear. They're in a position where there is no possible follow-up for IPG. They do have to back on away.
At this point, GamingGear took a lot of damage, but, well, they can just wait for the Baron buff. Even though they'll be low HP, Deadlybrother is going to have enough sustain, getting 94 HP per auto attack at this point, or he'll be at full HP. And Inspirro's already healed to full nearly because of his high regeneration as Sona. They landed a spear. Did you see how much damage that spear did to Nidalee right there? That was nothing. That was about 200 HP, and that's because this Nidalee build, unfortunately, it does lack a reliable burst of AP for her spears, and that they don't have the useful Nidalee anymore. They don't have someone who can split push because she'll be caught up by Renekton, or they'll lose the game in response because the turrets are already so pushed down. So the Baron has come. This is the last moment. This is the final hold for Intellectual Playground. They cannot fight GamingGear with Baron at their own turrets.
There's the knock up onto Roldo. There used to be a Zyra there. There isn't anymore. GodBro's now been caught out. We've got the ball onto NBS. They're going to chase down Santorin, and GodBro switches it up. Oh, comes out from Alunir onto Janna. Instant ultimate pushes it back away again. But once more, Intellectual Playground are completely split. 2 behind, 2 in front of GamingGear EU. GamingGear, however, deciding that instead of following them and chasing them up, they're going to rotate now towards the Baron again, because someone has to go to that bottom lane because it is currently being overrun by super creeps. As it is, 4 members are coming this way. Oh, comes out. GodBro gets pulled in. Sona stun hit 4 people, but there's not really any follow-up from that. Intellectual Playground and got another good disengage, but a great re-engage from Alunir, his 3 people, and it is a massacre as Corky picks up 2 for a double kill. Sona does fall to Caitlyn in the backside, but honestly, I don't think ex-GamingGear EU really mind. Caitlyn's not killing the rest of them. Sona can die all she wants.
It's actually Zyra holding the Nexus right now, the Nexus turret, and she's not doing the best job at it. Not much a support Zyra can do to actually hold a turret like that. You know, this is going to be the end. GamingGear going forward, they can take this game. Santorin trying to keep himself alive, trying to keep the game alive, but, well, he doesn't die, but the turret still does fall.
Turret does fall after that. Sona, Caitlyn, Zyra ultimate.
Go to those things.
We'll finish off. Nexus is exposed. No Peke here. There's still plenty of players left up. GamingGear, you going to try and have to focus it down. Corky trying to fend off this Lee Sin after landing that Sonic Wave. But there is the last hit on the Nexus going to Jarvan, and ex-GamingGear EU in a very hard-fought final game will take their spot in the group stages and will knock Intellectual Playground out and back to the ranked 5s ladder.
Very methodical. Their play, once they got off the ground, once they really started setting up their AoE team fight, they just constantly applied pressure. And it was it started off with picking out Roldo. Roldo ending the game 0-7-2. That is the life of the guy who is not fast compared to the team that either has mobility or just has high move speed like Janna. Well, they played okay. They played well. They played their hearts out, but IPG could not pull it off compared to GamingGear's just fantastic AoE combination and fantastic pickoffs.
So, once more, congratulations to ex-GamingGear for that victory. Of course, congratulations to Super Hot Crew XD and to Tomato and Onion Salad and Roughnecks Academy for all their victories throughout the course of the day. Tomorrow, we have Team Property versus Yelta Conference. We have H2K Gaming versus Black Unicorns. Heroes Team versus Cupcake is God. And Millennium versus the full Roughneck squad. Thank you to our lovely sponsors, Logitech G Series. They have been helping us put on this show. Don't forget to go over to wellplayed.org/Logitech G for all the information on the amazing products and fancy things we have for you over there. Don't forget, again, tune into this very stream later on this evening for the North American first round of qualifiers. And we will see you back here, same time tomorrow, with all 4 games.